Ever feel like your brain is just overloaded? Like
Ugh.
you've got a million tabs open and you just can't process it all.
Yeah, that running out of RAM feeling. I think we've all been there.
Totally. And today, we're taking a deep dive into that feeling.
Anxiety.
Exactly. We're going to unpack what anxiety is,
Right.
at its core, what causes it to flare up, and most importantly, how to deal with it.
Think of this deep dive as your cheat sheet to understanding and managing this thing we call anxiety.
And just to be clear up front, we're not trying to diagnose anyone here.
No, not at all.
This is about giving you the knowledge to understand what anxiety is and what you can do about it.
Because knowledge is power, right?
I like that. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So let's start with the basics. What is anxiety?
Well, simply put, anxiety is that feeling of unease, worry, fear, that sense of dread about what might happen.
Okay, what might happen, so it's future focused.
Exactly. And that's a key difference between anxiety and fear.
Oh, interesting. So what's the difference? They seem pretty similar.
They do, but fear is about a right-now threat. Something immediate and identifiable, like slamming on your brakes to avoid an accident. That's fear. Anxiety is more about what could happen, even if it's not actually happening at that moment.
Okay, so fear is, oh no, a spider. And anxiety is more like, what if I see a spider later?
Precisely. But here's where it gets interesting. Even though anxiety starts in our minds, it triggers a very real physical reaction in our bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Racing heart, sweaty palms, that feeling of not being able to catch your breath.
Totally. Just thinking about giving a presentation makes my heart pound.
Exactly. Your body's fight or flight response is kicking in. It's that ancient hardwired response that helped our ancestors survive, running from predators and things like that.
Wow. So even though I'm not in any real danger when I'm stressing about a deadline, my body reacts as if I am.
Exactly. It's trying to protect you, even if the danger is all in your head, basically. The problem is, nowadays, we're surrounded by potential stressors. And for some people, that fight or flight response is just on high alert all the time.
So it's like our bodies are stuck in the past, huh?
Yeah.
Still reacting like we're going to run into a saber-toothed tiger at any minute.
Yeah, kind of. We might not face the same threats as our ancestors, but our modern world definitely has its own ways of triggering that anxiety response.
That's for sure. So let's talk about those triggers. What kinds of things can set off our anxiety?
Well, it's rarely just one thing, It's usually a whole mix of factors like a perfect storm, genetics, personality, past experiences, even our environment and lifestyle.
Wow, so it's not just me being wired wrong, it's this whole combination of things.
Exactly. Some of us are just genetically more sensitive to stress, kind of like inheriting a super sensitive alarm system,
That makes sense.
And then our upbringing, our past experiences, especially traumas, those can have a big impact on how we react to stress too.
So our internal alarm system learns to be extra cautious based on what's happened before.
Right. But it's not just the past, right? Our everyday habits can also play a role.
Like what? What kind of habits are we talking about?
Well, think about it. Not getting enough sleep, eating a lot of processed foods, relying on caffeine to get through the day, all of those things can mess with our system.
Yeah, I can see that.
Even something like constant noise or always being glued to our phones, that can keep our nervous systems in overdrive.
It's like our brains never get a break. So with all these factors, genetics, past experiences, lifestyle, it can feel kind of overwhelming. Like, what can we actually do about it?
That's the good news. There's actually a lot we can do. We can't change our past or our genes, but we can definitely learn to manage our response to stress.
Okay, I like where this is going. Tell me more.
There are so many tools and techniques that can help us calm those anxious thoughts and feel more in control.
Okay, I'm ready to load up my anxiety toolkit. What do we have to work with? Give me the tools. I'm ready.
All right. But remember, it's not like there's just one magic solution that works for everyone,
Of course. Everyone is different.
Right. It's about finding what works for you. Some people find therapy incredibly helpful.
Makes sense. Like talking to a professional to develop coping mechanisms.
Exactly. Working with a therapist can help you challenge those negative thought patterns that contribute to anxiety.
Yeah, those thought patterns can be tough to break on your own.
Absolutely. And for some people, medication can be really helpful too. It can help manage those physical symptoms, the racing heart, the shortness of breath.
So it's not always one or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Therapy and medication can work together.
Exactly. They can work hand in hand. And the great thing is there are so many different types of therapy out there. One that comes up a lot is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Have you?
I have, yeah. It's about recognizing and changing your thought patterns, right?
Exactly. It helps you identify those unhelpful thought patterns that contribute to anxiety and then teaches you how to reframe them.
It's like retraining your brain to react differently to those triggers.
Exactly. You're basically telling your anxiety, hey, I see you, but you're not running the show anymore.
Ooh, I like that. I'm going to remember that one. But what about those of us who aren't ready for therapy or medication? Are there things we can do on our own to manage anxiety?
Absolutely. And even if you are in therapy or taking medication, these lifestyle changes can make a huge difference.
Okay, so what kind of lifestyle changes are we talking about?
One of the most powerful things is stress management. Things like mindfulness meditation, deep breathing exercises, even just spending time in nature. Those can really calm your nervous system.
It's amazing how something as simple as taking a few deep breaths can really change how you feel.
It's true. And you know those basic self-care things? Those are important too. Getting enough sleep, eating a balanced diet, limiting caffeine and alcohol, making sure you're moving your body regularly, those all make a difference.
So important, but so easy to let those things slide when life gets hectic. This deep dive has been amazing. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on anxiety, understanding where it comes from, recognizing my own triggers, and most importantly, feeling like I can actually do something about it.
That's exactly what we were hoping for. And remember, you are not alone in this. Anxiety is manageable. With the right tools and support, you can absolutely navigate those anxious feelings and live a full and meaningful life.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, right? And now our listeners have the knowledge to start their own journey towards managing anxiety.
That's right. And remember, it's a journey, not a race. Start small, be kind to yourself, and celebrate those small victories along the way.
Beautifully said. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.